we had former Vikings GM Jeff Diamond saying that he sees a potential train wreck for the Giants for the 24 season. Oh, yes. We had to put a train on the picture for this segment here. Checka, 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 choo, choo.
It's a little train that could.
But here's what he said exactly. He said, there's a lot of moving parts that are going on with the Giants right now, and especially going into the season, and a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones, on Brian Daboll, on Joe Schoen, and I think it's a potential train wreck coming if they don't get off to a fast start this year, and if they're not competitive in a pretty tough NFC East. That NFC East is a really interesting division, but I think the Giants. I think that the Giants, if Jones is playing well, if Nabers comes on, if the defense gels, and most importantly, if that offensive line can play better, then I think they got a chance. So it's like he started off kind of really negative and then kind of like backed off just a little bit. Like,
yeah. It's like, well, but if they just make everything click the right way, it might work.
Yeah. But if the queen had balls, she might be the king.
Yeah. Pretty much what that statement says.
Yeah, basically. Now that I should give credit to credit is due there. That was an interview with Ed Valentine, a Big Blue View got with him there. So give credit there to where credit is due on that. But yeah, I mean, listen, he's not 100% wrong what he said as far as there's a lot of pressure on those guys, specifically on Jones, on Daboll, on Schoen to succeed this year. But I don't think you can sit there and say, oh, if we don't get off to a great start right off the bat, we're in trouble. And I think that people are saying that because of the schedule. You know, we start back-to-back weeks potentially against rookie quarterbacks, depending on what happens in Minnesota. You know, Sam Darnold may start week one, which if he does, that's still like playing a rookie quarterback because he still sees defenses like a rookie does.
Pretty much.
So, you know, I get that part of it there. And yes, it's a tough division. He's not wrong there. I do think the Cowboys have taken a step back this year. I'm not sure how big of a step. I'm not trying to say they like took like, 5-10 steps back. I don't know how many steps you want to give them at that point. But Dan Quinn left. You know, they really didn't sign anybody. They lost some linemen. Like, there's definitely some steps back. If you're going to look at this roster and say it's just as good as last year, you're crazy. Then obviously you got the Eagles, who had the worst second half of any playoff team last year. So what are they going to be this year? Plus, there's obviously changes with Kelsey retiring. They got rid of Hassan Reddick. There's definitely some changes to that roster as well. Their geriatric corners have gotten 1 year older. It's I can't sit there and say that this division is as good as it was last year. It's not. I don't think it's a bad division. Don't get me wrong. I just, if I'm honestly assessing it, I don't think those two teams are as good as they were last year. The big question marks is how does the Commanders with their rookie quarterback do and their new head coach? You know, if the Giants are healthy, what is the actual potential for this roster? Because we talked about it. This team was within a touchdown in like 9 games. It wasn't like we were getting blown out on a weekly basis, guys. There was a lot of close losses we had last year. So if we're healthy.
You said 9 games, right? So just take half that, right? Go to lower south at half of 9 games, right? That's 4 extra wins. It's 10 wins.
No, I'm saying that's overall for the season. But
okay.
What I'm getting at though is we got guys like Andrew Thomas, who was hurt, Daniel Jones obviously being out, Wan'Dale Robinson coming back off injury. We got guys coming off the couch to play guard for us because we have that many injuries to the offensive line. We just had so many damn injuries last year. I think people underestimate sometimes what that did to this team because we were so pissed off about how bad the season was going. But let's be honest, the second we lost that first week as we did, that killed the confidence of the team. And then injury after injury. We were just done. We were done almost right when the season started. You can't expect that back-to-back. Now, is it possible? Of course, it's possible. But it's not a thing you should expect to happen back-to-back like that. So I look at it as I think the Commanders and Giants are both on the rise a little bit in this division. And I think the Eagles and Cowboys are both on the down a little bit there. Again, a little bit. I'm not trying to be like disrespectful as much as I want to be and just talk trash about the Eagles and Cowboys. I just think if you objectively look at their off seasons, you could easily argue that both those teams are not as good as they were last year.
No, but what I was trying to say is like was going to go get at is look at the Eagles last year. Like we've talked about it through the whole year, even like when we're talking about like our bet and stuff. Like the Eagles, the first 9 games, like they squeaked out those wins, and they were 11-1, went down and big down. Yeah, they lose half those games. They lose a third of those games. They're not the same team they were.
No,
and they were barely that team at the end of the year. But like they were a house of cards. Like, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like, granted, there's new coaching, like you said, which may make it better. But you also got rid of one of the best centers in the league. Well, not got rid of, but yeah, you're retired.
Retired.
Yeah, your corners are getting older. Like Dan Quinn really made the Dallas defense what it was. Like, and now he's not
now
there.
I should say, look, at least one Eagle fan will say it. Yes, they just drafted 2 really good corners potentially, but they drafted them. We'll have to actually see what they are. Just throwing that out there.
And that also, like we've talked about in nauseam on this podcast, like you draft a rookie, you can't expect them to be the best right away.
Yeah, it takes a little time. So I think in the end, I think the key to this whole topic is
all hail the New York Giants.
That's the key. That's the key right there, guys.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.